Okay. We'll call this meeting of the Combine City Council to order at 6:03 p.m. July 20th, 2026. We don't have agendas.
Well,
Do we need an agenda?
And do we just have two of these? Is there two of these?
no. I knew I was
But you can
missing
vote
one.
name.
I can barely want to.
And I checked them to make sure. I knew I must have given two of them.
I could share.
I brought mine, so. Okay, present is Councilmember Ken Bender, Josh Caldwell, Cecil Hudson, Councilmember Dale McLaren, Patrick Stepp, and Mayor Tim Ratcliffe. Sorry, Cecil Hudson, Mayor Pro Tem. Everybody will stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Lord, we come tonight and pray that you will be with us and watch over us, guide us in the things that we need to do, so that we will be the people that will protect our city, will be the people who will make good decisions for the future of our city. And we just pray that you'll be with us in all of those decisions. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. Robin? Paul? Anybody? No? Okay. Okay, then we will skip over to Holder. Okay. My job, along with the city manager's job, is to provide you with a proposed budget based on the information, the best information that we have. I'm sure you've had time to look through this, to create thoughts of your own about it, and that's what we're here for. So, I recognize someone who would like to comment. Yes, ma'am.
The property tax amount shows the certified values for Kaufman County, but I haven't received them from Dallas County yet, so that will probably change some, hopefully not much. And they did get back today on their estimated collection percentage, so I increased that from the 97.47 that we had budgeted for this year to the 97.8 that they anticipate. So it will change some. There was like a $3,100 difference when I got the certified values from Kaufman. Not a big difference, but it'll change some when I get it out.
Okay, thank you.
So Robin, is can I transform this?
Yes, please.
The 942,564 up here, 59 cents. Is that Dallas County and Kaufman?
Right now, but it's certified values from Kaufman County and just estimated values from Dallas County. So that's the whole number that will change when I get certified values from Dallas County. But it does include both.
Okay, we had another question earlier today about the, might flip over to the court to 40108. And we look at last year remittances as opposed to what we budgeted for this year. So I want to clarify that. Last year, we didn't have lawsuits going on. We didn't have the combine road intersection thing going on. So we were collecting considerably less in ticket revenues. Ticket revenues determine what we have to pay the state. So that's the reason that was $700 and then
That's an
$5,022.
example. That's an example out of
Yeah.
a typical citation, like for truck off truck route, it's usually $281. Well, 248 of it has to go to the state. So we get very little of it, of any of it, but that's why the amount that we spend to the state comptroller is so much more and budgeted more this next year.
So,
But it just depends
now we
on
know
what
that
we reflect.
that's going to be going on, and police are going to be enforcing that, and our ticket revenue is going to increase, and we're going to be looking as the year goes on as to what we want to do with that increased ticket revenue, because there are legislative guidelines as to what you can and can't do with it. We have spent some of this year on the drainage systems that we've been working on, and later on in another meeting we'll discuss what we may want to do with some more of it. As far as the budget is concerned, these are the numbers we need.
You lost me just a little. So the line item that you're referencing is not is it this?
It's the total
40?
It's a total court. I just referenced.
Okay, so what's given to the state, is that this number to this number? Is that what?
No. This is this current budget we're working on right now. This is what we're budgeting for next year.
I know, but is this number why the increase is?
The increase is because of the increase in number of tickets that are being written.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense, but I thought it was because there was an increase shown here in what we had to give the state or something.
Well, we'll be giving the state a lot more money.
Yeah, that's why, because this year.
And this is kind of like building permits. This is just a wild guess.
Yeah. Because this year so far, because of the increased tickets, I think we've given 22 or 25,000 or something like that to the state comptroller already.
Yeah.
So does that show as an in and an out in this?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
under the revenue, so it's like this is what we're guessing we'll get maybe on tickets, but that's what's gonna have to go to the state comptroller, so the bottom line is.
So this is
This is
revenue.
coming in, this and this are going out, and this.
Okay, very good.
Okay. We anticipate that TVEC franchise fees will increase a little bit. We've talked about previously that the AT&T lease will decrease, but we believe that other right-of-way fees will probably increase, but we don't know that. We don't know what that's going to be. You might also notice on 40500, transfer from reserves. That's money that we transferred out of reserves this past year to do road work and drainage work and add to the drainage grant that we already had and everything else. So that's zeroed out right now because we don't know what that's going to be next year. We're not going to pre-plan any of that. We've increased sales tax revenue. If you look at, I think we're always so cautious about that. And so we've only increased it by $10,000, but we're probably going to hit $230,000 this year. So we're budgeting $230,000 for next year. We have built in $150,000 for attorney's fees. I had a lengthy conversation with the attorney's office the other day about where we stand on things. And what we might anticipate, and of course, we have no way of knowing, just like this time last year, we had no idea we were going to be in any of this. But the initial cases, which is the largest expense, have been filed, have been heard. We now have this, what's term? They came back and filed, no, not the appeal. Anyway, there's been another filing, but it's being handled by TML, our insurance is going to be handling it.
Countersuit.
Yes, countersuit. That way. The countersuit, they have filed. Our attorneys have, they're working on all that, so we anticipate that this may cover us next year. But again, we don't know that. So we have to be kind of cautious about how we build money into things. And after we get through with all of this, as months go on next year, how we anticipate using reserves if we're going to use them. And we will know on October 1st what our reserve status actually is. Because our budget will have been fulfilled, the new budget will have started, we'll be at the low point for the year because there will be no more property, or very little property tax coming in. We'll have our monthly sales tax payments and a few other revenue streams, but for the most part, everything will have been paid. So we'll be able to, at that point, do a complete cash flow analysis and tell really what we have in reserve.
Where did the $125,000 come from?
Various places.
Do we have a, I mean,
Which 125?
I'm just saying, we had, because we had said last meeting that we had to come up with big money, and you came up with all of it, but where did it come from? I mean, I could go through here and I could figure it out myself, but, we have notes on that?
Well, some of it came out of road repair and maintenance because that's the thing that we flow money into every year.
Mm-hmm.
So some of it had to come out of there. The police department expense is down from $155,000 to $85,000. And so we were able to take some of that money and put it in there. Basically, it came out of road repair because that's where everything comes from.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Patrick, were you asking where did it come from, the prior expenses, or where did it come from this budget?
This budget.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Because we were talking about last time.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
The tree and brush removal, since we've done so much this year, do we anticipate doing a lot more next year? Or what?
Well, what we try to do is, it doesn't always work like this, but we alternate. One year we do the tree, the actual overhangs into the right of ways, and like what we're doing this year, and intersections and then the following year, we work on ditches. Cause like Harlan needs it really bad right now. So that we can go on price, and then we'll go in and just for drainage purposes, we know what ditches need to stay clean, some more than others. Over time, we've learned these are the ditches we have to keep cleaned out or we're gonna have a problem. So we've labeled those, and so we're gonna use that money probably this year, spend more of it on the ditches, and then alternate back. Again, we have to do both but most of the money, if possible, we're gonna use towards those.
I have another question.
Okay.
On the 61810, the tax note. So this September,
Not this September, well, there'll be one this
Then
September.
2027.
Yeah.
So, once that one's paid, that's it, right? Do we have any other loans like that out, or is that the last one?
That's the last note that we have. We've been working toward getting ready to repave the roads again
Mm-hmm.
when that gets paid off.
Okay, so we won't get a reprieve for a year?
No.
I'm thinking this one need to be another redo?
No, this is not in this budget, but what we were talking about is we have some roads that the base has held up very well. We have a couple of places that it hasn't, so we anticipate that we'll have to replace some base, but not anything like what we did years ago. But then we have other places where the base is good and it just needs to be resurfaced. So TexBit will be coming out and we'll be going around and surveying all the roads and determining what it will cost. That's been 8 years, 9 years?
Going on, yeah.
9 years since we did that road. So it is gonna cost, but we don't know what yet. So,
Okay.
and that's one of those things that when we do know, and we know about these other projects that the city manager and I are working on with other people, then we'll look at where we are attorney-wise, what that's doing to our reserves, and determine whether or not we can take money out of reserves to do the additional work that we need to do, or if we have to wait until the next budget.
Okay. Thank you.
I've got a question, Tim. On 64115, it increased, I'm assuming that's budgeted for that sign?
It is. Would you like to take that, Chief?
Sure. So I'm guessing everybody did get a chance to see the sign out at the side of the road over the last week and a half or so. It was not purchased, it's here as a demo.
Okay.
That was actually something I had requested, and my apologies for not being here for the last meeting. I was in mandated training that I had to take for the state. A class I've had 3 times before, but they insisted none of them counted towards what they wanted it to, so.
Can you prove that?
The 3 times before, or them insisting that it didn't count. No, that was all part of the Evaldi Strong Act, and with that, they've mandated quite a bit of new training, but very specific branded training. Like next week, I will be in active shooter training through Alert. I've been to active shooter training multiple times before, but not the Alert brand, so I get to go back through that again. Everybody has had to do that. Last week was actually public information officer training, which, again, not the right brand. Even though it was the same instructor, not the right brand, so I had to go sit back through that in Conroe, Texas, during the last meeting, so my apologies. But yes, I'd actually asked for a demo on the trailer, so to bring it out to kind of see the ins and outs of it, everything it will do. I hope everybody saw it out there today, advertising tonight's meeting and tomorrow's P&Z meeting. That's a lot more than just like our old speed trailer, which has ceased to function at this point. And the manufacturer of that trailer no longer exists, so the ability to get it repaired is out the window as well. This trailer, as you can see, we can use it for multiple things. Information, road construction, burn ban in effect, water boil notice in effect, lots of things. If you saw it out here last week, you saw that it's more than just a here's your speed kind of thing. So it's something we're going to be able to get multiple uses out of, not just throwing out there to try to slow folks down. It does a good job at that too. Kind of the way I had it set up last week, and it was kind of in a multiple mode where if you were going below a certain point, it just said, I think I actually just had the city's website up. And so that can be used for, like I said, a burn ban. It could have the burn ban up there until you reach a certain speed, and then it could tell you to slow down in different ways and things like that. It also has a ton of preloaded, like, construction signs like you would see on the side of the road that it can do for the display as well. So, but that would be the trailer exactly like that, and it would be ordered. It's from a company called Applied Concepts, which is more commonly known as Stalker Radar. They're out of Richardson, which is the real benefit to them, which is also the radars that we have in all the squad cars is also to them. If something breaks, we just take it back to them and get it fixed. It makes it a whole lot easier than trying to package something up and send it to Lexington, Kentucky, which is where I used to have to send my custom brand radars. So it makes it a whole lot easier in that aspect. And Stalker Radar has been around forever, very reputable brand, used them for years, and actually have very, very little issues with them at all.
So, just a second. So we put that in the police fund, just for discussion purposes, but everybody should be aware too that about a third, at least a third of the use of that will come from the city manager. It will belong to the police if you decide to buy it, but it is for use between the city manager and the chief. So just like what's on the sign tonight, just like the greetings that have been out here before, that's city stuff. It is a fabulous piece of equipment, and if we don't want to put it all in the police budget, we can move some of it into signs under public works, but it's really just moving pieces on the board. But, no, I'm sorry, Cecil, go ahead.
How's it powered? Is it solar powered?
Solar powered, yes. There's 4 marine batteries on the inside of it, but it's solar powered. Unlike our old one, it doesn't even have a plug, but you can plug it in and charge it. It's completely solar. And, we all saw it sat out here for 10 days out there and never skipped a beat. I checked the status, and the solar panels actually provide more power than it gets pulled off the battery. So it sits there pretty much full charge all day long, and then just depends on the batteries after dark.
Do they give a life expectancy on the deal? Or?
No, but just in my experience, those marine style batteries will last a couple of years.
Solar panels last forever.
Yeah. And so, maybe every couple of years we might have to replace batteries, but it's a minimal expense. We were doing that with the old one. It had 2 batteries in it.
Yeah.
Can I say something? Just also one of the things that I was impressed with when they came out to show it was that the information it will collect, like, it not only tracks speeds, but it can show you average speeds in an area. So like so like average speeds, or it'll count trucks. It can count, like in an area, if we want to put it up and see how many trucks we're going through. So basically, you can set it up there and it'll count trucks too. So some magic behind the scenes that it can tell the difference in the radar return between a car and a truck and other things. So we can get some
Driver ticket.
I wouldn't go off of that, there is a ticket.
Put yourself out of a job.
I've got a question.
But yeah, we can do speed surveys and all kinds of stuff with that.
So, we have a nice sign in the front, right? That'll give us the same information?
No.
No,
There's not a sign
There's a
up
sign
front?
up front, but there's
but it
no,
doesn't do
there's no
anything
comparison.
other than what I tell it to put on there.
But we can't program it to say, we have a meeting and stuff like that. No?
Well, I mean,
For
yes,
meetings,
like I have a thing up there for tonight's meeting and
Right.
council meeting, but
Yeah.
it doesn't do all of.
Oh,
the
absolutely.
stuff.
No, I like the
Yeah.
idea of the sign, but I do,
Okay.
I was right there with you. I was like,
Yeah, I was just,
And I try to
It's
change
time for some of those
the
things.
colors every now and then, because I don't think anybody ever pays attention.
no, yeah, but when you change the color, it's sure like,
Hopefully they'll look at it.
And in normal circumstances, I wouldn't set that up there like we have it tonight.
right here, it'd be somewhere else.
Right. The main thing was, since it is a demo, I didn't really want it going too far from the building,
Yeah.
while we're responsible for it and don't own it. So, yeah, it sat out there where it would be close, and I moved it over here for tonight. And we did the P&Z thing on there as well, just to kind of show the flexibility of it.
How much is it?
So,
How much is it?
19,970?
Yeah, 20,000.
yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cheap for that.
And
Sure
that
slowed
is
me down.
a flat out purchase.
Yes.
Slows me down.
It did me.
Me too.
I mean, it makes me aware.
No subscriptions or anything that comes along with that later on, that's straight on.
Can I
Are you
ask
going fast
another
enough that
question?
it flashed the red and blue at you?
So,
Yeah.
you said, you know, it's Richardson, and if something goes wrong, you just take it up there, but with the purchase, is there like a warranty?
Oh, yeah, it goes out tomorrow.
Yeah, there would be a manufacturer's warranty with it. Offhand, I don't know what
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
on that sheet, but I don't have it with me.
Okay, let's see.
And then,
It's just,
you know, do they?
5-year warranty.
5 year, okay, pretty good. Okay. And that's like bumper to bumper?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And Stalker's awesome. I will tell you, in working with them in the past, with just their regular radars, they're awesome. They take pride in their product. The people that work there definitely take pride in it. And if something's wrong, they want to make it right.
So,
Probably shouldn't ask it.
Tim, I have another question. On a purchase like this, does the city depreciate assets?
yes and no, it doesn't make any difference. We don't have tax issues to deal with. So although our assets, like the fire department building,
Uh-huh.
you know, gets depreciated, but it's not a big cost.
Okay, thank you. Still learning.
Yeah, it's like business, but it's not.
Okay.
Yes,
And what else, additionally, in that 35, what else is in there? As far as that equipment? Any more specifics, or is it a general?
The rest of that ends up being pretty general, and a good example of why we need that, I will tell you, last week I got hit by TCOL. For those that don't know, TCOL is the Texas Commission on Law Enforcement. That's the government agency that we answer to as a police department. I got an email from TCOL last week that by September 1st, we have to own a breaching tool and a ballistic shield. And the September 1st deadline, of course, then puts it before this budget. I couldn't just go ask for that in the budget. We managed to get it done in what we had left with equipment, but yeah, that's exactly for things like that. Again, Uvalde Strong, thank you very much for 0 notice on a major expenditure.
And it all wasn't cheap either.
No.
anybody else on that issue?
Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Robin, is there something specific?
Well, yes and no. I know for years, we've had, somebody local who has been, our prosecutor, and he's been pro bono. And he's officially retiring. He's not officially given his notice, but we're gonna have to pay somebody to, handle dismissals and, somebody pleads not guilty and offers or whatever. I've emailed with one person. I've called Crandall and I was like, who do y'all use? And she does other courts as well. And I emailed her and she's not answered me yet. I mean, she answered just initially, hi, let me know, whatever, however you handle whatever. And so I emailed her some details, court every other month, once everything's done by email, except that one court date, trying to get a bill if that would even fit into her schedule and if, what she would charge, so.
You asked the judge.
Well, yeah, and he was asking the prosecutor, to put feelers out. But,
So here's the thing, we're gonna have to do that, but we have no idea what it's gonna cost.
yeah.
No clue.
Is it a line item?
It will be,
Not yet.
not yet. Because he's been doing it pro bono for decades.
Yeah. And we had asked him this last time, or last couple of times, it's like, we should pay you something, and he was like, well, I'm getting ready to retire, and so I was like,
And always before it was, you know, he needed to do a certain amount of pro bono work each year, so this is kind of towards pro bono stuff. And it's been, I don't know how long he's been here, at least 20 years.
It was before my time.
It's before me too, so.
Is he a resident? Is it a resident?
No, he's from Crandall.
No, he lives here.
Oh, does he live here? Oh, that's right, he does live
He
here.
lives on Little Boys.
Yeah.
But if we have no idea what that would be, if
Not
Right.
from,
No.
not from, we're just gonna have to,
And I told her, you know, we pay the judge quarterly, you know, and just trying to get some general information. So, but I don't know what
and
that-
so this is one of those items, that's what's gonna happen is, there's not gonna be any way to work this, into this year's budget. So sometime after this takes place, and we know what the amount's gonna be, and we're gonna come back in, we're gonna add an expense line into the court, where you see the judge's expense, and whatever that expense is, and then we'll have to transfer money in to pay for that. And then next year, we'll be able to put it on the budget.
Okay. Okay.
and that's a preferred method over just adding a line item and sticking something on it.
Well, we can do that.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me, I
Say that.
don't know, which is
Just adding a
clean.
line item and putting zeros in it for now.
Oh.
But it's, yeah,
We can do that.
it's 1/2 doesn't it?
Okay, we'll put it on the line, so it'll be on there. So you won't forget about it, because that's the main thing, because it will come up. Okay,
Chairman, if I may?
yes, sir.
I have another question. So I know we talked about this some last time, but under Public Works, under 61-803, and we're canceling the contract with Texas Animal Control Specialists.
Yes.
And so we have 7,000, and I know Jack had some ideas and some talking points around that. But I think my question is that, will there be a contract or some governing structure put in place around how the city is gonna compensate Zan or whoever that is for what she's doing?
Yeah, that's a good question, and we're working on that. I'm just trying to get, I'm gonna sit down with her and maybe the mayor to meet with her first to get an idea of, get a process, because we need something in writing, a process of, we contact you, and we'll know what's happening and exactly what she's doing, how she's keeping up with what she's doing in the time, and be as detailed as possible, and then come up with, maybe like an hourly rate that the council would approve on, if she comes out and has to work a couple of hours on trapping or catching a dog or just posting and trying to locate. She put 2 in the SPCA this week, that she was able to get in, which is great, because that's hard to do, but, if she does things like that, transporting the dogs or finding homes for the dogs, and we just have to figure out how we can best compensate, probably with time, with hourly rates.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, to me, just, it's business, and so handshakes and verbals
Yeah. No, we'll definitely.
don't quite cut it.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely need something, right, a general order, so to speak, on how it's operated, and so that there's no, question.
We'll have that in a regular council meeting. We have not worked out all those details yet, but as we get them worked out, then that'll be presented in a regular council meeting for the council to consider.
Yeah, thank you. And then, so that we'll put it together, let y'all look at it and see, do you think that this is a good standard procedures? We'll check other cities or whatever, and then make changes, questions. We can, until we hammer it out and get it to where it needs to be, where everybody's happy with it, and then we'll go forward with that.
Okay, great, thank you, appreciate it.
But also, let me just, because this question may come up also, like, as far as like dangerous dogs or dog bites and quarantines, so we're under, state law has us under, or has those, issues under the sheriff's department, so animal control. So we fall under, obviously, Dallas County and Kaufman County. So if we have a problem, if we have a dog bite, or we need a quarantine, now we may have to pay for the quarantine, or the people pay for the quarantine to take it to a vet. But as far as the license to be able to do animal control procedures and take a dog, or whatever the case may be, that would be the sheriff's department. Now, they will not come out and just take dogs for the city. We know that. They're just not going to come do a stray dog, but they're mandated to handle dog bites and dangerous dog situations. So what we would do is like if the PD could call, or I could call sheriff's deputy to come out, sheriff's deputy would call their animal control to handle those types of procedures, just so you'll know that we're not going to not have those services. We will have the services that just render the county.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Shall we hear from the fire department?
Ready? Okay, well, first you have a page there that's still in expenses that has the contribution, and then it has the payroll expenses for the administration and for the police department. So you can see what all that is, and if there's any questions about that, we should go ahead and clarify those. Social Security tax, Medicare, state unemployment, that's all pretty well set. I might mention that for well over a decade, our former police chief, city manager now, and our city secretary worked for less than half of what their value would be in another city. And it did that to help us build a budget that would allow us to do things like buy a new fire engine, buy a new tanker, build this building, do the streets. We have now brought them up to not equivalent to cities our size, but very close to it. So that's, when you see those salaries in there, I just want you to understand the history of how we got to that point. So the next part is that we've separated out the fire department contribution so that everybody's clear that the fire department is not a department of the city. It is an independent 501c3 entity that we are making a contribution to. In making that contribution, and I made this point last time and I'll make it again, we have a large area that the fire department covers. Rustic Oaks, Oak Hollow, Lindsay Cove, 26 square miles, a little over. And what's it, 7.3 square miles? It's a city. The city is the only contributor other than the fundraising that they do. So my position is that we want to be cautious in how we spend the city's money, the citizens' money, on an entity that we're paying for services to all these other people. If in fact we were to, and I'm not saying we're doing this, I'm just giving you an example. If the fire department withdrew from all these other areas, ESD 7, which is Crandall, would rush in and areas, and their tax would be 8.8 cents per hundred. I doubt any of those people want that. But we have got to come up with a system, especially now, because this is my third fire chief. And in the past, each fire chief has been able to balance the budget, keep themselves in equipment. We have bought equipment for them. We have paid other things for them. Suddenly last year, we became aware that we were told that we needed to come up with a bunch of money, $92,000, to fill in the equipment that the reality is we don't want to think about. We were also told at that time that that was a one-time deal, that they would be back this year, but that it would be a much smaller amount, but it's not. It's the same amount. So what we've done is gone in and looked at, taken what was said in the last meeting and looked at the budget, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief. You have money in the bank that belongs to the fire department, right?
Correct.
So the idea that was presented last time that we need to front money for grants where they'll get things done and then they'll apply for a grant, which is a common thing. But we don't need to do that. You all need to do that. You
We
need
are.
to front your own money to do those things.
That's
not-
exactly what we're doing.
Well, then, you explained to us that this vehicle equipment for $46,205, that was money that needed to be spent so that you could get a grant for some kind of repairs or something. My point is that if we're going to start looking at spending more money on the fire department than we're spending on the police department, then we're going to need a whole lot more information. We're going to get a much better understanding of what it is we're buying. We keep a reserve fund for the city, and it's important that we do. But it is not important that we provide a reserve fund for the fire department. Fire department's reserve fund is their own money.
Sure.
So we don't need to be paying for things that you can pay for yourself.
We're not expecting you to. We have used our own funds for the grant.
Okay, so how did we go from $45,000 a year for years? Actually, for 35 years, there was no money at all that came from the city. And then the city passed a property tax, and a couple of years later, they decided to give the fire department $45,000 a year. And they did that right up until last year.
But
And now,
a significant portion of it was for the engine, and then it switched to the
that was
city's
the
own
arrangement
tender.
that was made with the chiefs at the time, with the chief at the time, which is fine. But throughout that period of time, the fire department's able to exist and maintain itself while we were purchasing that equipment and paying parts of your utilities. But now all of a sudden, that's no longer the case. Now all of a sudden, we need $100,000 in order to be able to maintain. And I'm trying to figure out why.
Can I visit?
Mhm.
Okay. So the city was paid for either an engine or a tender, and then what was left over, was my understanding, was for utilities for the building. There was no other equipment purchased. We've always purchased our equipment, and we've always paid for the maintenance for everything, including the tender and the engine, ourselves, out of our pocket.
Okay.
So that's where a lot of the expense comes from.
Okay, but what has changed from that to where we are now? Now, all of a sudden, you're telling us that you can't do that you have to have $100,000 more in order to accomplish that. What has changed?
I've said this multiple times, the cost of everything has increased dramatically since 2020, and I've given you guys pricing for things multiple times to prove that.
But that's not the point.
But that
Pricing
is
has
the point.
increased for everything.
I'm sorry?
Pricing has increased for everything. All of our expenses have increased.
But that's what I'm saying, that's why the $45,000 no matter works. Things for the fire, industry have nearly doubled.
Okay, but now you're talking about triple the amount of money that we were originally putting in. So I'm still,
I can't control our costs or how much it costs to fix things. We just repaired the engine again because the air brakes went out. We had to
what was that?
the engine, which I informed Jack about. The air brakes went out and the hydraulics went out to lift the cab, and we had multiple people working on it all weekend themselves,
Okay.
our members. So we didn't have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars.
I guess I've been a volunteer for a long time, and I've worked under every chief except for the first one. And for years, it's not that we didn't have stuff, there was stuff we needed, we just didn't get, we just didn't have. So now, instead, we're trying to do things, some of these items that we really need, that's what they're putting them in the budget for. You want us to do an ISO audit to get our number down. Well, there is so much stuff on that ISO that we have to purchase that we'll never use.
Well, we're never going to get there either. I can tell you because my wife did the study on that a few years ago for y'all. Spent months and months digging up information, and we will never be able to accomplish that. And this is one of the problems. But thank you very much for what you said, because this is what I've been trying to get to. Yes, I understand. We want to become a Class A, super duper, fantastic fire department. We can't do it all at once.
I'm not asking you.
Well, this is not a reasonable amount of money for us to spend. We can spread it out over a period of years. You told us the other day that, for instance, that FFPPE, that there was some kind of device that you needed, that you have ordered, but you haven't been able to get because they've been on back order. That's in last year's budget, but it's in this year's budget again.
Because it can't, with the amount we have for repairs, because that line item, equipment and maintenance are just that, they're both things. So, as I said before, I did reach out to Helping Hands. There's a waiting list, because you can get them at a significantly less expensive fee for it. But if we have to buy them, that's gonna take quite a while.
Okay, I understand that.
Might take a couple of years, because they're so
And it may have
expensive.
to, because what I'm trying to point out here is that we put money into the budget last year, into your budget last year, for this same line item. And now you're coming back and telling us you haven't been able to fulfill that yet, but you need this much more.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's a process, it takes time. And there's also other things that have to be managed on top of that. It's not just that one thing, all of these things take a considerable amount of time and they're incredibly expensive.
Okay. Yes.
So, but to your point, Tim, any that's not spent is just gonna flow down and be surplus, and then we're gonna move it to at the end of this year, that's gonna be flowed to the roads or wherever we designate that. Because, I mean, I'm seeing that you haven't spent all of the budget from this year.
I have not.
And so any surplus is just gonna, it's not like, oh, they're holding that, and, yeah, you don't get it back. I mean, it's not gonna go that way. It's gonna be less than what was budgeted, and it'll flow back to our budget, and then we'll just do the amendment, and where it flows to the roads.
Yes and no. Keep in mind, again, to make this point, the police department is a department of the city. The fire department is not. They're a charity. You're making a contribution to a charity. So you can look at this list and you can say, okay, well, this is, at the end of the year, they can take the money and run. They can do whatever they want to. You have no control over it. And this has been my point all along. The council
I can't
needs to
take
be.
the money and run. I'm not giving any money directly, I have to.
No,
pay for
I'm
things.
not trying to throw stones at you. I'm just saying that this is the situation. you're giving this amount of money to a charity. Once you do, you have no control. You have said, here, go spend this money. You don't get to call up cystic fibrosis and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make a contribution of $100,000 to it, but here's how it has to be spent. No, then we don't want it.
I mean, I'm a board on a nonprofit, and you can put restrictions on contributions.
Yeah, I know you
Which
can.
we did last year when we said, okay, you turn in a receipt to Robin, and then Robin writes a check for that, and so we have controlled those funds, and appropriately so, because as we've said multiple times, we have to give an accounting for how this money is spent. And so, without receipts and that money flowing accordingly, then that money's gonna flow down to our bottom line as a city, not as a volunteer fire department, as a nonprofit.
Okay, so the question then remains, what amount do you want to contribute to the fire department? And keeping in mind that whatever you add to this 102,797 comes out of roads.
I would like to contribute whatever it takes to safely run a fire department. And if it's 137 or if it's 237, it's our job as council members to make sure our citizens are equipped with a fire department. And we need to fund them to do their job correctly, safely, with the proper gear. I can't tell you what that cost is because I'm not in the fire department, but she can, and I'm sure she has reports. You also mentioned that a lot of the outside skirts, and you think everybody thinks that she does a lot. What I'm trying to say is 28 square miles. Do you have numbers or percentages of what's inside and outside?
I do. So, because I know we touched on this last time. So, fiscal year to date, total emergency calls, we've had 301 in unincorporated areas. So, we don't service anything in the unincorporated area of Dallas County. So Lindsay Cove, that's all Dallas County Fire Rescue, that's not us. We don't service only the unincorporated part of Greater Combine Kaufman area on this side. So year to date is 301 calls. Unincorporated portion is 54 calls, so 17.94%. City proper calls is 247, and that's 82.05%. I'm forecasting our annual calls to be about 375, I think, by the end of September. I know we also discussed mutual aid last time. So, year to date, we have received mutual aid a total of 5 times. 117 with Crandall VFD for a structure fire, 111 Crandall VFD for a fire, 316 Crandall VFD and DCFR structure fire, 318 Crandall VFD DCFR for structure fire, and then 529 we had the structure fire on Lanier, and that was Crandall VFD and the first time Stevensville's been here. Mutual aid given year to date, we have provided Crandall VFD mutual aid 28 times, Dallas County Fire Rescue 14 times, Kaufman VFD 1 time, and Terrell VFD 1 time.
Weren't y'all at the grass fire the other day?
That was the Terrell one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
That was Terrell. That's the first
that was
time we left. The big one was in, big giant one.
Yeah, it's taking water mostly to that.
Yeah, and brush trucks, I mean, James was actually there. It was a giant fire.
Yeah.
And they were out there for 2 days.
Oh, my.
So a significant portion of the calls, as you guys can see, are within city proper.
82%?
Yes, that's
And out of 301 calls, you've only had 5 back you up?
correct. That is correct.
Yeah, we backed up how many times?
Well, Crandall 28, DCFR 14, Kaufman 1, and Terrell.
And do we recoup any, fees for that?
Well, so the difference is when they call us, they generally need water,
Uh-huh.
so they need extra water. And Crandall, a lot of times, they will be on a big structure fire with Seegaville, so we're doing a station fill-in, so we're usually covering a lot of their medical calls for them in that time. The thing is, when Crandall comes to us, they're helping us with big calls, like structure
Oh,
fires,
yeah,
where it's
gotcha.
gonna take multiple departments. So
Okay.
we're doing more, but they really do make it up to
They
us,
make it, I
because
gotcha.
they come in for the big stuff,
Okay.
so.
Well, I'm kinda like Josh, I'd like to see in the budget, the 137,725.18 instead of the 102,797.18.
And then what's not being closed back now, is that correct?
Well, I don't know, if we list it as expenses like this, I mean, we still have the restriction in place.
Wait.
Whoa, everybody stop. Now, who wants to be recognized? I'm not gonna have everybody talking at once.
Okay, I'll be recognized. What are you asking for? 137 or 102? Or do we decide on 102?
I'm not aware of the 102.
Okay, that's what we decided to, okay. That's what I wanted to know.
Cecil?
No, I was through, I do have other questions, but they're unrelated to, well, kind of related to the budget. But yeah, I would like just to see them do the 137,725. And I don't know if it needs to be more line item like what we had it before, so that the word contribution's not on the whole thing. But if we keep the restrictions in place. Okay, well then we just keep the restrictions as it is in place, where we're writing checks, after the fact for invoices. So and this might not be the proper place for this, and we can kind of take it apart. But what's so like the Crandall Volunteer Fire Department?
Yes, they are now ESP 7 now.
But, so, do they have equipment? Does the Crandall Volunteer Fire Department that once was have equipment that Combine Fire Department could purchase that would be helpful? Or do they not own any of that?
They don't own any of their equipment.
Okay.
The ESP owns all of their equipment and their trucks. There's one fire truck that I think is being taken out of service. It's older, that belongs to the city of Crandall, but everything else was paid for by the ESP. So they don't own anything.
But they have not come to terms with each other as to how they're going to work out their situation between the ESP and the city, so they-
Yeah, I think Seegaville, I mean, I don't know all the ins and outs of that, but Seegaville's, they're in some kind of discussion.
It'll be interesting to see kind of what happens. It sounds like they will be sharing the station, both be working out of it for a while, but if the Seegaville contract goes through, I guess we'll have to wait till August to see what those numbers are.
That's right.
And then one other thing I'd like to touch on, if it's okay, I know we had discussed the ESB, and I would love to do an ESB. My concern is with everything that's going on in Crandall and information flying both ways, and a lot of it's not correct on, both sides. My concern is that I don't see that happening over here anytime soon, but I have spoken to the attorney, and I think a good alternative might be doing maybe some sort of membership contribution for people in unincorporated area. I have a list of all the properties that I got from the appraisal district, which is great, in our response area on Kaufman County side. So we could go through that and take a look, but that may be another, she said we could absolutely do it, and that may be a really great way to bring in some funds.
Great.
Yes, sir. So, I want to go to this vehicle equipment line specifically, just again. So in the handouts that we had from the prior meeting, the 65,124, the budget was for 46,205.18, and as of this printout, you had spent 26,290 with a remaining budgeted amount of 19,915.
Mhm.
Okay, so the 19,915 that's unspent, why do we need the 46? Where is the money that's remaining going, or,
So I'm waiting, I had explained before, I don't remember if you were on the council or yet not, but I explained I had put in a request for helping hands for SCBA's and cylinders, because they're incredibly expensive. I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I'm sorry, I don't know what those are.
So that's the pack, the air pack you wear on your back, like when you go into a structural fire with the mask on,
Okay.
it helps you breathe.
Okay,
So I did request those, because a brand new pack by itself with an air cylinder is about $9,000 for one. So, like I said, you can get them for substantially less, they're pre-owned through them, but they're back ordered. So we do have some maintenance we still have coming, and I was waiting to see if that came through before I purchased them. Because then if it does, that might leave some extra money there as well.
okay, so that accounts for some of the 19,000 that's unspent, but the 26,290 that was spent is going to have to be spent again in the coming year?
So this is the other thing, we've had a lot of issues with the tender. The tender and the engine are very high maintenance apparatus. And our engine is getting old, and we're doing our best to care for it, but when something breaks, it's incredibly expensive.
When you say the engine, that's the fire truck?
Correct.
That's not gonna be paid off till 2031?
No, that's the tender. Fire truck's paid off.
Okay.
Actually, the tender.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Okay,
I think it says fire truck, but it's actually the tender.
In 2014, fire department had a 1985 engine they had been patching up for a long, long time. They finally developed a crack in the tank that they were unable to fix or thought it was going to be too expensive. We actually ended up selling that to another fire department who thought they could fix it up, and they have, and they're still using it, for $40,000. We used that as a down payment on the engine we have. We had a 10-year note on that engine. When that engine was paid off, and we bought the tender.
okay, and it pays off in 2031?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, it's not, it's not as if we have spent the last 20 years ignoring the fire department. We have worked with each of the fire chiefs to do the best we could with the money that we had. And that's what we're still trying to do. The idea that we can just throw as much money as we want to at the fire department, that won't work.
I don't think that's what we're doing. I think
Well-
that she's right. Everything's
I'm not
gone
talking
up,
about-
costs have gone up everywhere, just like you said, costs have gone up everywhere.
I agree, and that was not directed at the chief. Somebody had their hand up.
Oh, no, I was just
So,
putting my hand behind my
Bill.
head, sorry. I think it was Bill.
I was wondering, the tender, you were saying the warranty is going to be up soon. And what issues are you having with the tender that you feel like, this is going to cost a lot if this goes out?
Well, we've had chronic issues with the DEF system. We had to have a firmware update. We had the PTO transmission issue, and like I said, thankfully that was covered. It almost wasn't, but it was. Captain Roy said, you could speak to it too. They're finicky. Large apparatuses like that are very finicky. Seals go out, things break, foam starts leaking, and we take very good care of our things. We try to have pride in everything, but it's the nature of the beast, especially with all that pressure pumping through it, water and everything else.
If you ever have an opportunity, have her pull it out and drive it. It's a tank. With a tank full of water. And the maximum speed is 60 miles an hour, and if you got going that fast in it, I don't think you could ever stop it.
You've never.
So, it is just a beast.
I'd like to say something real quick.
Sure.
If it wasn't for our chief and our equipment captain, they stayed on those people and wound up getting it covered. We could have just said, okay, it needs to be fixed, okay, $8,000, and we pay $8,000. They said, hey, this should be covered, and stayed on them, and got it covered. So I say kudos to them.
Good. Thank you. Yes.
And when does the warranty run?
I have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it's up in the fall.
Oh, wow.
Because they had the in-service date listed before we actually received it, and they shouldn't have done that. So then, I think we actually luckily got it pushed back 6 months. Captain Rokershaw did, so it extended it just enough to cover it. So I'm pretty sure, I think it's September.
Yeah, when did we bring that in?
The 21?
In the fall of 21, like in October, I think, when it was live or something.
But they're just, they're put through a lot of abuse, not on purpose. I mean, but they do a tough job, and, you have to pay for it.
How much more is that getting used than the actual engine itself? Because I know you're providing water for a lot of.
We do. I mean, they both get used pretty frequently, I would say, though. And then we also, with the grant, we just had headset put in the engine, which is really super excited about. The gentleman from the sheriff's office came out, unlocked the back of the radio for us, and then checked our other radios as well. So make it so much easier to hear each other and converse on the way to the fire.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you have more than, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, if I can address what you just asked about them being used. If you're not aware, it's important to know that if we have a fire, both of those great big apparatuses are used at the exact same time.
Correct.
So with the issue of our fire hydrants being spread out so far, it's our source of water, right? So the engine's gonna fight, but the tender has to go make the water runs, right? So 9 times out of 10, if you see the engine go somewhere, tenders are following it. So it's important they both go at the same time. If they can't go at the same time, we've got a real problem fighting real fires.
Yeah.
But when we go and help other people with water, that we're just taking the tender, or we taking the engine?
Generally, I will call ahead and ask exactly what they need, because sometimes they need manpower as well, so it really just depends. Tender, though, essentially goes if we get any sort of fire call, brush fire, vehicle fire, we try to bring the tender, because we don't know, how the hydrant's gonna perform.
Yeah.
Lauren Boyd was a great example of that, so.
I know, our little hydrant just spitted little tiny bits of water out. And I always thought, it's so great to have a fire hydrant out front.
Which is crazy, because when they drain them, they're shooting so much water out all at once.
I think it depends how close you are to that tower, too.
Yeah.
Because the GPMs the farther you get away, it can get pretty bad.
When the water system was put into town, which is actually before, my understanding is before the town was formed, some people got together and started putting in a water system. And they didn't much care about fire hydrants and things like that. They just cared about getting water to this guy's house and that guy's house. So you got 1-inch lines running over here and 2-inch over here, and then you've had some unreplaced. I will tell you that down on Fort Art and Haynes, they have great water mains down there, because we, several years ago, 3 of our council people worked diligently to get a grant, CDBG grant, to put in new water mains down there for people that had never had fresh water before. So they have the best water mains in town. Some others have been replaced, but you have several areas, and the city manager can speak to this because they run into it all the time, where you have 2 or 3 of them running parallel, and some of them have water in them, some of them don't.
And some of the streets don't even have water in combine. The water lines don't go down every street, people have wells. So that's a fun game to play too.
Just a quick addition. there's more than 2 engines over there. So what else is,
There's one engine, one tender, we have one rescue, and then we have 2 brush trucks, and then, my squad vehicle.
okay, so, are those in need of repair, or are they?
Yes. Mm-hmm. We use maintenance, all of the apparatuses. Yeah, tires, oil changes, any major repairs, we take care of all of them.
Okay, we don't take votes in a workshop, so we just need to reach a consensus. So far I have 2 people that I'm pretty sure are on board for the $137,000. If I have a third, well, I'll let y'all comment.
Sure, but basically, we've got to come up with 35K now, right?
Well, it's gonna have to come out of roads.
Okay, so it's just all gonna come out of roads, and roads is down to 85K right now, isn't it?
Well, no, when you take the difference out, roads will have $61,304
So 96,000,
from 96, yeah.
okay. And what were we planning on doing with the roads this year?
Well, we're in the process of working on that right now, we don't really know. We have a number of projects that are being engineered, that are being looked at. We're gonna be working with, like I was saying, with TexPit to determine what roads need to be repaved, what roads need to have new base. We don't think that very much is gonna need a new base, but we also don't know what paving costs because we haven't done it in 8 or 9 years. With them anyway. We've done smaller projects, and I say that, we do Robbins, we have kind of an idea of what
Right,
that costs.
and, probably this year mainly, so, Dallas County side, not a huge project, but we have to do some maintenance on a couple of roads over there.
Which roads are?
Smith Circle, Smith Drive, and Patsy.
And what do we think we're gonna need to do to those?
Well, so the first estimate was probably around $10,000, $5,000 to $10,000. I'll get an estimate on that to you, between just basically to fix potholes that's shown up. And then the only other big project that we need to think about is Combine Road. I don't know when we're gonna be able to, well, of course, we've applied for a grant.
That's the triangle, right?
It's a triangle. We've applied for a grant to put concrete in there. So we don't wanna, but on the same hand, it's dangerous. So I bought the coal mix and we've been going out and I need to do it now for sure. But just fixing potholes, just, piecemealing it together, just to try to hold it, until we can find out about this grant. Probably before we could afford to concrete it in, we would probably will just need to just asphalt it and keep the trucks off of it. That'll be probably our option if we have to pay for, the project, because that is, a $400,000 project to do everything we need to do with the concrete, with the turn lane that we have to have completely rebuilding the intersection, building it up to grade so that, and making it a T intersection, all the things the engineer said is expensive, and so.
We don't know what TxDOT will work with us on yet. We do know that we're going to eliminate the 2 streets, the 2 roads that go through there, and bring that into one, and bring it up to a T into 1389. And we're currently looking at with PAN, with a temporary solution that would last a little while, but it would be a matter of taking up those 2 and putting them in the middle and bringing it up. But we don't know that TxDOT will let us do that, so.
In the meantime, is there, put a mirror in?
Put
Because that coming around that corner is crazy, because everybody was trying to get in get on the good pavement, right? So, I mean, a mirror, right? No?
Right. Well,
I mean,
you mean on the entrance into, like.
Like let's say you're coming from Seagoville, right? and you're gonna turn towards the
Right,
City
yeah,
Hall, coming around that corner, it's such a narrow strip of good pavement. Everybody wants to drive on that good pavement, you know, so, yeah, I mean, it would be real handy to have a mirror to see headlights.
Right.
I've almost been run over twice.
Kind of way off.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, no,
That's more of a city council.
Something, yes, exactly.
Yes, but to your
But
point,
definitely want to.
and I'll have to bring something back to show you what we need to do to keep it safe
Mhm.
without breaking the budget, knowing that we
Sure.
may have this grant coming.
Yeah,
So I'll come back with some ideas on maintenance, so we can get it to, so that our engineer can look at it and say, yeah, it's not perfect, but it's safe.
yeah.
It's safe enough to, you know, however it is that we fix it. So I'll come back with the council.
Yeah, sorry, you don't.
Okay.
It's okay, thank you.
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on this one number, and if I can just get clarification, and Lauren, I need your help.
Okay,
So, last year's budget, you requested 45,000,
yes,
you spent 26,
so far.
and you think there's another 10 that you're gonna spend for these for the air filter things, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, 36,000.
We may need to spend all of it.
If we have to pay for, if we have to buy them.
Well,
And then we have to spend it the same amount again next year?
Well, like I said, if we have to spend it because we don't get any from Helping Hands, they're incredibly expensive. So that's gonna take some time to purchase.
You weren't here, so let me make this clear up some of this before you make it.
Okay, thank you.
When we did the deal last year, the deal was that all payments come through the city secretary.
Uh-huh,
So we're not just handing them $137,000.
right.
We're budgeting that amount as a contribution. But when she buys something, she brings the invoice to Robin.
Uh-huh.
So all the invoices go to Robin, so we know exactly where the money's going to go. Because that was an important thing. We have to be able to account for the money. We can't make a $137,000 contribution to a charity and just walk away.
Right.
So however she ends up spending the money between now and September 30th, we'll be able to account for it through the secretary's office.
Right.
And if she does get the helping
But
hand
as to
and we
your
don't
question-
spend that money, then it flows back into our stuff and then we give it back to you later.
No, and I'm sorry, I'm
I
just,
will save I'll save the city that money in that line item right there.
So at the end of the budget, if she has not spent all the money, then it'll be just like any other line item that we have. When we make adjustments in September and we balance the budget for the year to go into our audited financial statement, then if there's money that she has not spent, it's going to go into reserves, just like our money's going to.
okay. Okay.
I think what you may be trying to get at is if you needed that money and you bought those things this year, then you don't need to buy them next year.
I think though it's
And
like,
so that's what so that's where why you were asking for
We
the
will still
amount.
need to buy some next year because it's not enough money to buy multiple
It's about all-
at one time.
Okay, they have,
It's
so that,
They do, they have a lifespan, and we have so many that are past their
Right,
lifespan, that's what I'm saying, it'll be a
Right.
process, because
right.
it'll.
Well, I think that's where
Yeah.
your confusion was coming in, because it's like if you asked for that and you bought it, then why do you need to buy other ones again? But she hadn't bought all of them.
Correct.
Well, speaking,
Okay.
go ahead.
No, sorry, I think externally expressed, had a thought. So, sir, maybe to help you with that, is we roughly keep about 15 of those on hand, and they're shy of $10,000 a piece. So we'd spend $150,000 if we just replaced them, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're trying not to do that. I think she's being overly polite, not saying too much about, they do expire, right?
Okay.
And so we buy a couple, we buy a couple along, need to buy a couple along, so we don't wait till they all run out, right?
Got it.
And they do have issues, right? We have to recertify them, they wear out, maybe you can't, sometimes they don't last their whole time. So thankfully, there is this helping hand thing where maybe we can do a lot less. But if they don't, then we're stuck paying retail for them, right? And we don't want to do that. But with having 15 of them, there's always some that can be replaced every year, right? Because it only lasts a maximum of 10 years, and then you have to cut them off. It's a state law that you can't use them, right? They expire.
Okay,
And that's the way a number of those things are, right?
Yeah, but this is something that the council needs to be aware of and understand. They have certain items that expire and they're not supposed to use them any longer. They have certain items, the engine being one of them, for instance, that there's a recommendation that after a certain period of time you replace it. It is not a rule, it's not a law, it's not anything, it's a recommendation. You have urban fire departments, you have suburban fire departments, you have rural fire departments. We are obviously a rural fire department. You have different standards for each level. So whereas the city of Dallas, which is obviously an urban fire department, will buy an engine, they're gonna run it to death for 10 years. And then, they're not gonna get rid of it, they're gonna put it in reserve. And they're gonna buy a new one. And this one's gonna back this one up for another 10 years. And then they're gonna sell it to somebody like us. So, or not. So there's different fire equipment has different regulations, and some of it, when it expires, it has to go. But some of it, it's just a recommendation.
Okay.
So, if I may, the pack that we wear on our back, it's a pack and then it has an air cylinder that goes inside of it. The air cylinders have to be hydro tested every so many years, and after 15 years, especially for the carbon fiber ones, they're done, their lifespan, no place will hydro test it, and you're not supposed to use it anymore because they can be dangerous. So just as an example, 20 of our 25 air cylinders are past their lifespan. So now, and they only last 30 to 45 minutes if you're breathing normally. Now, if you're huffing and puffing in a structure fire, or you're, a large person, 20 minutes, and you have to change them out. So people who are going into fires will have to have multiple air cylinders.
Do you all refill them as you're on site? Do you refill them on site?
We don't, we would have to have like a portable cascade system, and we've talked about doing that in our rescue, but that's pretty hard to come by. I think I've only seen one fire department in Kaufman County that has
They have
that.
one in the building over here.
We do have one,
Yeah, yeah.
we do refill it, and we just don't have a portable,
Right.
but we do refill the bottle.
Okay.
Packs themselves typically last 20 years. And
I'm
we
sorry.
have, I'll say, those packs typically last 20 years. And we have, I want to say it's 5 or 6 that are 27 years old. So they can't even be
Well, that's just a little
certified
bit.
anymore. It's kind of, so that's what we're trying to do, is replace them when we can.
And all of our bunker gear has expiration dates too. Our hats, our coats, our boots, our pants.
Tim, do you know if you ever volunteer for the fire department?
You know what you're gonna
you're
get.
getting.
Expired.
No.
Expired.
But that equipment is the same as
Man,
bulletproof vest for the police. They have an expiration date.
Yes, and we do use them past that 10-year point, we absolutely do, but it comes to a point where, things get holes, they get run down, they rip, and you can't take them into a fire at that point. Your shoes start flooding, and on top of that, they can't go to training with that because they check it at training and they won't let you train with your stuff back.
Before, as another little history lesson, before Cassidy came, when Jack was still the police chief, we could afford one new bulletproof vest. So he gave it to our officer, and he wore one for a long time that shouldn't have been worn. And he didn't tell me about it till we were able to afford another one, just so you know. So anyway, this is what I'm talking about through the years we have pinched pennies, we have worked together to make these things possible. The paving of the roads, the buying of the equipment, the building of this building, all these things didn't just happen they've taken a lot of effort, and so we want to work with the fire department any way that we can. But we do have a budget. We have a limited amount of funds. This particular year, my biggest concern is the legal stuff. Yes, we budgeted $150,000 for that. I think that we're fairly safe there. But then last year, we budgeted $25,000 and we thought we were safe. We didn't know we were going to get these lawsuits. We didn't know this stuff was going to go on. So now, what have we spent so far this year? 250?
I don't know. 230 something, yeah.
230.
And I did,
Does that include today's
and we
check?
just did another check for
Yeah,
$6,300, so.
Do we have like do you have like an anticipated like 5-year plan?
I could go back through, we started getting inventory for all of our assets, and we have new software, so we're in the process of putting those assets into the new software. So that's definitely something we need to work on. I think we have an idea because of our inventory list, our spreadsheets that we already have, so we can see what's there. And
I think that would be real helpful.
Okay.
So we can look at it and be like, okay, this is the plan, right? Because,
yeah,
you know, they're saying, why are we have to spend this again? Well, then you showed us why we're spending it again, because we bought 3 of them this time, we're gonna buy 3 of them next year, 3 of them in a year, you know? That would be pretty helpful.
yes, I can definitely work on that, and I apologize if I haven't had that sooner. I think I'm coming up on 2 years, and the first 2 years have been playing catch-up and putting policies and procedures and things in place, and so now we're just starting to be able to, I think, kind of see the light of day.
Yeah.
So, yes, that's absolutely great.
Okay, are we generally in a consensus point here?
I think so.
Robin and I will work together and restructure this accordingly and get it ready for presentation, formal presentation.
Yeah, end of next month, we should be able to have the hearing and everything accept the budget. Open this week, I'll get numbers from Dallas County.
By then, we should have certified numbers for not just revenues, but everything else, so.
Is that something that happens at the regular council meeting next week, or that's?
There are separate meetings, we'll have to have I don't know if we changed the law on this, they'll have the tax meeting, the budget hearing,
Right, but they'll happen at the council meeting.
we'll have them before the council meeting. So we'll have meetings that will start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. We have to have a tax hearing where we'll pass the tax, which hasn't changed. Then we'll have a budget hearing where we'll discuss and pass the budget. And
That's it.
certify those, and then we have the regular council meeting. And then the regular council meeting, pass everything.
Okay.
You have to do it over and over again.
Will that be for the 24th, the August 24th?
No.
August 24th will be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll do the hearing and then the council meeting right after for the budget. And then in September, we'll do the one for the.
Okay, so August 24th.
Yeah, because we have to have this prepared, we have to send it off to the county. The county will run the numbers and they'll tell us if we're within, what's it called?
I don't know, there's so many different, the new revenue rate and the.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different rates that the state sets,
Okay.
and we have to stay within those rates. Regardless of how much growth we've had or anything else, if our revenues get beyond our current revenues minus growth, then we could be subject to having to lower the tax. We haven't run into that. We bump right up against it all the time.
Okay. Thank you.
And we have to, I have to publish it in the newspaper so many days before the hearing, so that's why there's so many different timelines that, we have to know this by this, because we have to publish it, if we're gonna be able to have the meeting and the hearing, and.
Okay.
So are
And
you
the
thinking
reason-
maybe 6 or 6:30 or what?
No,
Or
I started at
that,
7.
to start all that?
No, we just
Seven.
started at 7.
Yeah.
Oh, start at
Yeah,
7.
we'll start at 7, and then it'll just be,
Okay.
The reason that we bump up against it, so you know, is because because we have such a low tax rate.
Yeah.
So because our tax rate is so low, then when you add in growth and the new appraisals that we do every 3 years, on the third, then it keeps us right up close to our maximum tax that we can charge. If our tax was higher, we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't be close to it. But we have a very low tax rate, so that's what causes it. It's just the way the numbers, the way the state makes you work the numbers around.
Okay.
It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
How often do we hold court? Every month?
Every other month.
Just once every other month, that's what we need to prosecute?
That's when we actually have,
Every other month,
yeah.
and he would have to handle whatever it is.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
during the time,
yeah,
he would show up every other month. Okay.
yes, for court day, yes,
Is this $1,500 in?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
On the payroll, items, so the 270 for the police department salaries, the 273,832 includes still some officer number 3,
Right.
correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So just throwing this out for, if we did not include that and increase the pay, like the Social Security pay increase or cost of living increase is 2.8. If we did that for our full-time, the city manager, the city secretary, the chief, and our two full-time officers, instead of the 1,200, and then took that money, so that 55,000 or 56,200 with the proposed $1,200 increase, and then the 7,200 for insurance, that officer would be, then we give a better increase for our full-time people, and we gain some money that could go to other areas, and then I would say adjust as needed if a officer is, I'm not saying don't continue looking, I'm just saying, hey, let's just then adjust on the fly. If somebody falls in our lap, that would be an additional full-time officer.
One thing that could be done, because I'll tell you, we don't have any open prospects at this moment. It obviously takes quite a while to get somebody hired anyway. We could budget for half a year for that officer and just not actually do a hire until that would be March 1st.
Just tell them your hire date would be March 1st.
Yes.
Start.
Yes. And then that salary savings that you're talking about would probably more than cover what you're saying for that half a year for all of that.
Yeah. This would be the differences in the 1,200. So it would easily cover the increases. And then on the certified pay, so there's 7,200, but does that include somebody that's coming in, that would be coming in?
We budgeted, I think we figured them at an intermediate, not knowing if we were gonna, because we could hire someone with just their basic like we just did with Naisha, or we could hire somebody with a master. So we split it down the middle and said, okay, we'll figure it in the middle, also knowing we were going to have some salary savings from the open position.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So is Kaisha, I'm probably saying the name wrong. Naisha, sorry. Is she, so she's basic, so there's no
Right, she wouldn't get anything additional.
until she does
She get right.
hours
There's
or whatever.
classes and hours, and it's a mathematical formula to move up from one to the next.
And so she was just, we put that in there just in case, right? Yeah, because like Sean's been here 2 years, but he's already reached his.
Yeah, I remember that we had
Yeah.
two masters.
Yeah. Yeah, so Sean just achieved his master last month, got the rest of his classes in. been a master police officer for a long time. And then, yeah, if she were to complete her classes for her intermediate, I'll tell you honestly, with her, chances are she's not gonna get all those in. There's a lot of classes that she has to, has to get to. She's more than capable of getting it done. It just probably won't be this year.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Hers most likely won't come till at least she gets to her 2-year mark.
It is just an opinion, for Bird and Glover, I mean, is there anything additionally we need to do for?
No, we're doing them a little bit differently, based just because they're each only doing about 40 hours a month. So we're handling them differently than what we're doing with the full-times.
But you feel good about the retention of those
Yes.
two at where they are?
Yes, I will tell you, those two have no plans to go anywhere anytime soon. Glover, in fact, will be attending this active shooter training with me next week to make sure his license is maintained. Bert's actually already had the class. So yeah, we'll have them both for a while.
Gotcha, okay, I understand.
Yeah, well, Glover especially has a ceiling at how much he can make,
Yeah,
so.
okay. I don't know, that's just my 2 cents thrown out to, and it doesn't really get there, but it does a little bit more than the 1,200 that was proposed. And I think moving it, then if it's, kind of a hiring freeze till March 1 on that, then that more than covers this piece, and then it helps us out a little bit with some.
I would have to say, I wouldn't be opposed to that, because it gets us a little bit closer, to that range where we wanted to be anyway with our starting salary. We're not gonna catch up to, Crandall and Seagull. Crandall starts at 66,000, Seagull was at like 68, something like that. We're not gonna catch that, we don't expect to, none of us have, delusions that we're gonna get there. But I think what you were talking to would probably get that starting salary right at 60, which at least gets us in that competitive ballpark. And then from there, we just keep making those minor adjustments to keep us there.
That sounds interesting, I like that.
I like it.
Okay, go over it again, so everybody's.
Well, on the full-time people, it would be a 2.8% increase in everybody's salary. And then if we don't budget for or budget a percentage for officer number 3, then it saves that salary plus half of the insurance for that person as well.
And you're counting just the police, or are you counting Robin and Jack?
No, so Jack, Robin, the chief, I've changed her name to Gaisha for this meeting, but y'all call her Aisha. And,
Hopkins.
then Meredith.
Yeah, Hopkins is a little easier to remember.
So what does that end up being? What's that total?
I didn't total it that way, but like I'll give a little more personal here, but so Jack would be, instead of 1,200, that would be a 2,170 increase. For Robin, instead of 12, it'd be 1,596. And these are just based on percentages of their salaries. For the chief, it'd be 1,960. For Marion, it'd be 1,610. For Naisha, it'd be 1,540 of increase.
And then what would that leave for the rest of the budget?
Well, it would be half of 54,524. So.
Wait a minute, how do you do that?
Well, I did it, taking this salary out and this insurance out for the officer for the whole year. And so then I get to that.
In the salary.
Yeah, you have that in there.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it'd be half of that number. These are minus the savings here, so that gets to that.
Yeah, so it'd be like 20
Well,
to cover
half.
the difference in,
Half of this subtracted from that one.
because that's.
Or you just divide that by 2.
Because they got 20 in here, which is 47.
You gotta take the roses out of it.
I'm good at math, just ask me what 2 plus 2 is.
What I'm seeing is that, this is how much of the race will all
If that was not proposed.
That's 8.4 cents a piece for each of us.
We're not.
So you're buying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Okay, is everybody in agreement with that? What do you think?
I think we, yeah, definitely should look at that.
Okay, so then we'll refigure that, we'll put that money into, what we need to in the fire department, the rest of them will roll over into, what's the thing, no. It's pretty short. Okay, so I take the rest of it, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I saw.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
7:43.
Hey, Ron, I sent you a text, city about where we might find a prosecutor. Check that out, I told the Gloucester retired prosecutor to check that listing. So, anyway, this might be someplace to start, you know, before he actually quit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You too. Thank you.
I retired 2 months ago and I went back part-time today.
Did you? I remember they had general, couldn't remember, told me.
I, some instructions, so it can require me to go back to school. I'll say that for you.
I appreciate it. Yes, sir, it gets complicated, so it's just,
No, it's been a while. The explanations that you gave, I was actually thinking